All right, well, welcome to another episode of the Ultimate Fantasy Locker Room. I'm excited to be back. I had a miss last week and took all levels of hell from you guys on the show. You know, I noticed. So
you're the only one that missed it.
I am here. I'm here to defend myself. I'm here to defend myself.
What did we say about him last week?
It's always got little pieces of shit coming out of your mouth. You know.
I don't remember what we said.
It doesn't surprise me.
He led the charge. I'll say that.
Oh no, of course. Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did. I will say, guys, we got a ton of likes and a ton of and a lot more questions than normal.
Very telling.
Yeah, very telling.
You weren't here.
Well, was the likes? It was really weird. It was like Tara Mullins 15 times, his daughter, his son. You know, somebody from Hoboken, some homeless guy you probably paid a nickel.
How'd I get him the computer?
You probably gave him a fifth of Jack. Yeah. But no, we appreciate the likes. We appreciate the questions. Keep them coming. We really want to.
You almost said cupcakes. You hungry?
I'm always hungry, man.
Right.
It's my constant state. But let's get right into the show because it's a long one. I know that even before we do it because I know us. So let's talk about fantasy football, Mark. Where are we at, man? How did everybody do this week?
This week was actually, I feel like a better week than last week. Phil and I kind of highlighted the first 10 minutes of the games. We were both jazzed. We thought we were league winners, and that shit went downhill the last 3.5 quarters.
That happened to me again this week.
Did it?
Yeah.
This week was pretty good for me. So, as we know, I play a lot of teams. But in some of the bigger leagues that I play, of my 9 $300,000 overall championship teams, I have 2 of them that are currently 2-0.
Humble brag.
To be fair, I do have 3 of them that are 0-2. But
so 2 that are 2-0 and 3 that are 0-2.
Yes.
So it's a losing record.
No. Well, there's 4 that are at that. Wait, is that 4 that are 1-1.
Yeah.
But the other championship that I'm in, which is it's 172 teams per overall for a chance at 10K. I'm actually the overall leader in one of those leagues. Not only am I winning my individual league, but I'm winning the overall as of right now, thanks to Tanya last night, put me back into first place.
Very happy
for 10K.
Yeah.
So
10K.
I'm riding the high. I'm riding the high this week.
What about
fantasy football again?
What about our league of record for the show? The show.
I don't even know how.
So I lost again. I'm 0-2. 0-2. Yeah.
You're 0-2?
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, I look at my team. I don't think it's bad.
JT Taylor's really screwing the pooch for me right now.
Yeah, he is.
And it's not for lack of workload. That first week he did not so bad, but this past week he had a lot of carries. Just
it was bad for where you drafted him, though.
Yeah. So we've got team. Where are we at here? Team Gonzalez is in first place, tied with your brother Josh.
I'm 0-2 as well, so.
Yeah. A good team, which I don't know who that is 1-1.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Steamers, you're at the very bottom, 0-2, along with me, Legally Blind.
There we go.
Mark, you're at 1-1, so you're not that much better.
Floating on the lines of mediocrity.
Yeah. So really, there's.
I'll take it.
That's where you're comfortable.
You know what? I'm not. I'm not 0-2.
I'm all in. I'm either really bad or really good.
So I have lost.
Worst place to be is mediocre.
Yeah. He's not lukewarm. He's hot or cold for sure. But I have had just a shit ton of points scored against me. So has Phil. Phil's had 363 points scored against him.
Wow.
Mark, you've had 211.
Yeah.
150 less. And the average is probably 220. So, Phil, you've been getting whomped, but you've been scoring.
Yeah.
So,
it happens. To the best of us.
So, the average probably, it looks to be around probably like 240-ish, 250. Yeah. So, teams are on the average scoring, so you break that down between 2 weeks, 60 more points than average every week against you.
me. Yeah,
People are taking like childhood trauma.
It happens.
So,
listen, I'm not Sean Blackburn. I don't complain and make excuses.
well, he was
you
wrong
play the
about
game,
that.
and it is what it is.
He complains about it, but I actually am the one in that league that got, because Mark beat me the week before, and he scored 196 points. I was the second highest scorer that week. I would have beat everybody else.
It also doesn't help with my two starting running backs in this league are Saquon Barkley and James Robinson.
God, Barkley, what a turd right now.
What is going on with Robinson too?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know we're going to talk about those guys later
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah, I know Robinson's problem is he's not getting the volume, man. For whatever reason, Urban Meyer is hell bent on getting Hyde into action and
I mean, Hyde is the Ohio State boy, so you do want to go with the talent. You go with the proper talent, which is always
sick.
an Ohio
It's a
State.
sickness what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
I don't think no one's buying.
Anyway, so
our viewers just went down again. Thanks, buddy.
You know the crazy
We
thing,
worked
Phil,
so hard last week to get them back.
is in your league, you're also the highest team scored against.
yeah, I know it's been pretty bad.
322. I am Jared second, and I'm third as scoring against.
Oh, son of a bitch.
So
I am absolutely shitting the bed in that league.
Son of a. It's early, boys. It's early.
yeah, but I like the fact that he's shitting the bed because I think it's a precursor to his future. At some point, that's
Yeah.
what he's going to be doing.
Yeah.
Probably next weekend, drunken.
I thought you were talking about like Alzheimer's and shit like that.
That's a dark.
It's a little morbid,
That's
but I'm
dark.
sorry.
That's dark.
I didn't know where you were going with it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. That's like really morbid. So
Man, 10th out of 12 teams.
Sorry.
I can't even joke about that. So.
Okay, well, take it easy. Keep your underwear on. So, I think so we're all doing pretty bad, or
No,
I mean,
we're-
not you and your money leagues.
We're all pretty average.
No, you're average. We're just bad.
Yeah, the crazy thing is in my league, I have the best team on paper.
Don't you always?
My issue is I'm screwing around with my quarterbacks.
Performance.
So first week I put Lamar and lost by 3 points. Then I saw Dak, who tore it up the first week.
You got
Dak in the
no
second.
conviction.
Yeah, put Dak in the second. So this week I've tried to trade Dak to everybody.
You're chasing it. It's the worst thing. You start chasing
You should
it
see a
around.
doctor for that.
Hey,
That's
let's
a
talk-
performance issue.
Let me ask
right
you
there.
a question. Dak Prescott.
Okay,
we
here we go.
all believe he's at least top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Signed to a cheap contract, 2 years in a dynasty league.
Okay.
So if somebody offers me Trey Lance and they want Dak and the number one,
Oh,
is that
that's
freaking
just-
ridiculous?
yeah,
That's stupid.
Come on.
Yeah. That's almost like Sparonomics.
That's our word.
Yeah. Shawnee Blackburn, what a punk. Like,
Biggest punk.
That's
out
what he
there.
offered you?
yeah.
Biggest punk
He-
in the game.
This is because I said, give me Trey and a one for Dak, and he goes, no, I would maybe do Lance 4.
I'm just going to throw this out there. If anybody knows how to overvalue a quarterback, it's Sean Blackburn.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's the Cowboys. I figured he'd want,
I'll tell you what else. On top of all that,
He's bald, too.
He's
There you
ugly
go.
and bald. All right, so anyway, let's get into some pressing issues. This stuff that's going on in the league.
Shawnee, we do love you.
Get your guys' feedback on it. I did have something else here, but we'll go with what you said. The Browns wide receiver corps.
Yeah.
Who's stepping up? Who's the guy that we want to go roster? Who's going to get the bulk of the targets? I'll defer to you. You watch the team. You know more.
Yeah, I have. And
What do you think?
so, it's troubling because Jarvis is a great receiver. He's in a PPR league, pretty good. He's targeted often, and every once in a while will break it for a touchdown. But he's somebody who we talk about, the guy from the Giants that you like, Sterling
Shepard, yeah.
Like his floor is almost automatic.
Yeah.
It's a great receiver to build your team around. He's out. It looks like OBJ may be back, but if so, they're going to have him
He's
on a
been
pitch
killing
count.
me, too. I have him on a couple teams.
Yeah,
It's been hurting.
Yeah, as do I, and so he'll be on a pitch count. So, to me, Donovan Peoples-Jones has not looked good. So I think it's either going to be Rashard Higgins or Demetrius Felton, who was a running back / wide receiver that they drafted this year. I forget where he's out of, but he reminds me a lot of a poor man's Antonio Gibson. He is a running back, but he played a whole lot of receiver, had a 33-yard touchdown, really quick guy, runs about a 4.36. with pretty decent hands. So I think that's going to be one of.
That was a sick move that he had too.
Oh yeah,
The spin move.
Spin move. Was,
So you'd roster him before you go after Peoples-Jones.
Yeah. So if you want like consistency, I would probably go Rashard Higgins. If you want somebody who could just have that breakaway game, I would go Felton.
Okay.
I think this opens the door for their tight end situation too a little
does.
bit.
It does.
I mean, we saw it in the playoffs last year where they went with the 3 tight end sets.
Yeah.
And I mean, Njoku again looks like he looks like a beast. I wish we'd get more production out of him, right? Because he looks the part. He's just not acting the part, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have Hooper, who I think is probably the most targeted tight end so far through 2 weeks in that offense. That's putting up, consistent type of targets. And then you have Bryant there, who factors in as well.
Who actually had the most yards out of the tight end squad.
So basically, I'm saying I think it's a crapshoot in Cleveland who's catching the ball.
Yeah.
Quite honestly.
Maybe Kareem Hunt to get a little more involved because
I would love to see that.
Yeah, he's been hurting me a little bit too.
Yeah, and actually they've been targeting Chubb as much as Kareem, which I don't get at all.
You sound a little sour this week on some people.
Man.
They hurt your feelings.
That's how it is. After 2 weeks, you start seeing stuff. You know how fantasy is.
Well, Kareem just hasn't scored like he did last year. Last year, it seemed like every game he had a touchdown, and it kind of pulled you.
To quote Phil, we are only 2 weeks into this.
And you got to, trust the back of the baseball card there. All right, so
who else you got?
Next one is, who's the real Jameis? Will you please stand up? I think coming into the season, I think we all thought he was going to have a good year. Great first week, right? Low pass yardage, but super efficient. Marquez Callaway was a guy we thought could be a sleeper.
Yeah.
He's been a sleeper.
Who knows when Who knows when Mike Thomas comes back? Kamara, I mean, is he the guy that throws for, what did he, I think he had 1 fantasy point if he didn't rush for a touchdown this week.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. I think we know.
Very Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, I think we know who
Very Jekyll
New
and
Orleans
Hyde.
is, and I think we know who Jameis is. Even the week before, he had 4 touchdowns, right?
5.
170-something yards.
So that's the
yeah. It's.
But that's never been his game.
That's the point that I'm going to make here. He is boom or bust.
That's
100%.
That's fair.
So look at the 2 ends of the spectrum. First week, 5 touchdown passes. Second week, 0.
Yeah.
140-some yards, 111 yards. No matter how he's doing it, he's still not getting yardage.
Well, and the only thing he can do is get touchdowns. So, and to me, it's like if you were to take Jameis and look at his games, and you were to say, I'm going to rate every pass he does. Okay, a 1 would be something that he just shouldn't have thrown the pass, terrible pass, interception. 2, high, whatever. 3 would be dump off to a
really belaboring this. We get it.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you.
Did anybody write down this point system? It's so hard to follow.
That's all right.
If you're interested, let me know. He threw 11 passes last week.
Yeah.
Of those, only 1 was an above-average pass. Only 1 is something that I looked at and said, wow. Of his 11, 6 were dump-offs. Dump-offs that you could do, or you could do.
Probably not him.
Well, yeah, I think so. I think he's got a good strong arm.
All right.
Yeah, well. So, because you're basically giving the ball to Elvin, which is, it's a run, but it's not a run.
Yeah.
He's not an impressive quarterback.
So here, and I'm not sure that this is all Jameis's fault necessarily.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with you there, but
That's right.
Because Alvin had a pretty decent game that first week. Well, guess what? They figured that shit out. They shut Alvin Kamara down. He had a total of 30 yards and only 4 receptions, right? So you shut him down. And now they have no dynamic playmakers
they don't.
on the outside.
Excuse me.
You're saying they do?
Little Jordan Humphrey.
Listen, if a man is named Little Jordan.
Oh, yeah, I'd seen his name on. Lil.
You freaking pick that guy up. I don't give a crap if he just rides your bench.
Little Jordan.
I respect a man named Little Jordan.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
You prefer, man. You might say. All right.
Little
so
Johnson.
Next one is 49ers backfield. It's just their backfield the last few. Everybody that carries the ball is going to get hurt. It's just it's going to happen. So top 3 backs are down. Okay, what do we think?
So who's left?
Is JaMychal Hasty healthy?
No, so
Do you have a
Jermichael,
pulse?
so Jermichael Hasty is already ruled out for this upcoming week.
Beautiful.
Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell are both on the fence to play. They're not sure as of yet.
What is wrong with Trey Sermon?
I don't know.
You called it. You said that you think that he's one of those guys that his collegiate accolades spoke higher volumes.
Yeah, his last 3 games. But that being said, it was an impressive 3 games against great teams. I didn't see this. I thought I didn't know if I thought he'd be a difference maker, but I thought he'd be a consistent running back.
Yeah.
And I thought
And he's hurt, so
I thought they were high on him, but he was a healthy scratch week 1.
it seems like they're interchangeable
Well, I
pretty
think you're
easily
right.
with their running backs. And this is perfect. This leads us right into our next subject, which is waivers. I mean, is there a running back that you could pick up on waivers to maybe set yourself up in case both these guys are scratches that should be in line to get the workload here?
I'm curious to what you guys say. There's 2, maybe 3.
I have no idea. I haven't looked. So.
I think a sneaky pick here, if you have a spot that is absolute just you have a guy that you can waste, right? And there's no one really sticking out on the waiver wire and you have a spot to waste, maybe roll the dice on Jeff Wilson.
Yeah.
Sneaky early because he's coming back week 7, I think.
And he was a hell of a runner.
Yeah. They loved him, right? He got a lot of work at the end of the last season. And with all these backs being hurt, your number 1 down, Mostert's gone. They're not really sold on anybody else. Elijah Mitchell, it's kind of funny to me because in all the free agent blind bidding leagues, Elijah Mitchell was going for like $800+.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, because at that point you're like, all right, I got to grab the next guy, the next James Robinson.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? It's not Elijah Mitchell, and a lot of people just wasted their fantasy money. So if you want to be sneaky, I think 49ers are high on Jeff Wilson. If Wilson can come back healthy and he proves himself better than these other backs that they're just kind of putzing around with, I think Jeff Wilson ends up getting the run at the end of the year again.
Is that typically how you go about your fantasy business? Sneaky?
Yeah, I will.
For sure.
I always leave.
Yeah, for sure.
I always leave one
Home of
spot.
the fair trade.
Oh, I'm listen. I'm an absolutely a fair trader. Mark, however,
But sneaky.
Yeah, I'm not sneaky. I want to be.
So to clarify, though, sneaky, it's not bad being sneaky.
Okay.
What I'm saying by being sneaky is
heard it here first.
No, in fantasy football, is to get the guy before he's the guy. So you try to get him a couple weeks early, thinking that's where it's going to be. So
I think Mark's the kind of father who eats his kids Halloween candy.
No.
Oh,
sneaky,
yeah, for
like
sure.
that. Like,
He goes
they
through
go to
the,
bed-
all right,
they
you'll
go
get
to
some
bed.
more tomorrow. Then he scouts the bag for the good stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, I
They
can't
wake
wait
up
to-
in the morning. There's nothing but 3 Musketeers and like Starburst, yellow Starburst. Everything else
That's
is
it.
green.
For sure. Get there early.
Yeah.
On the flip side, you could also do that with, if you want to marry an athlete. Get them early, high school, kind of latch in
Get pregnant.
before they're the guy.
True. And on the flip
So
side,
you're going with the wife model.
on the flip side,
Athlete wife model.
trying to getting a wife, you go for the one that's she's full of zits in high school but has potential. And once she beats that zit phase, she was keeping up on everything else because the zits were holding
So
her
you
down.
judge by the zits.
And then
Wow.
I'm just saying if you want to be
get that,
sneaky.
what's that acne medicine?
Accutane.
Proactive.
You get some proactive and you call it a day. Hey, here's 2 other running backs I like that are
They
not-
were horrible comparisons. P.S.
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
Sony Michel. He's actually not owned in 66% of the leagues.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be
A
the
lot
guy.
of people dropped him last week.
Well, and Henderson got hurt, so I think he's next man up. And I really am starting to like Cordarrelle Patterson.
We'll talk about him,
Yeah, big guy, running tough. He looks good. He's splitting carries with Mike
Do we know
Davis.
what he's
looked
listed
good.
as on?
He's listed as a running back.
He's listed as
Yeah,
a running back.
Yeah.
Well, he is now. So he was wide receiver last year, but he spent the majority of his snaps in Chicago's backfield.
Yeah.
So now he's listed, I think, as a running back.
I mean, if you can run off behind that porous, terrible offensive, the shit show that is the Chicago Bears offensive line.
I thought you were
But
talking
here's the
about
thing:
his stint
he
with
had
the
a
Browns.
rushing touchdown yesterday, right?
I don't think he was with the Browns. He did, yes.
But he had 7 attempts for 11 yards.
7 attempts for 11 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
But he's had
The 5 catches for 58 yards and a touchdown.
Right.
So he's
And-
scoring.
And in the previous game, he had 14 attempts for 65 yards and a touchdown. And for the season, he's 771 in receptions.
So we're
for the-
trailing most of this game. So that
Yeah,
makes
but he was
sense.
only out touched by the team's number 1 running back 9-7.
Well, and Mike Davis looks
Mike Davis
pedestrian.
is in trouble.
He looks pedestrian.
Mayday. If you spent the reasonable amount of money on Mike Davis, you may be regretting that right now because Cordero does look like he's on the come up.
Yeah.
Or if you were one of those Mike Davis truthers that started taking him once he went to Atlanta, started taking him in the second round.
Yeah.
Kind of you're shitting your pants a little bit right now.
Somebody was high on Mike Davis on this panel. Do you guys remember who that was?
I don't know. Was it me?
No, it was you.
It's Mark. I was
Not in the second round.
You were banging the table for him. No, you're right. Not in the second round.
He was the guy that I was lobbying for RB4. If you can get your three solid guys, back it up with
amazing
Mike Davis.
Yeah, we got to go back and check that. I want to see what that's.
We'll check the tape.
We'll check the tape. All right.
Anybody else on waivers you guys got?
One receiver. I really like Quintez Cephus. I don't know if people saw him last night in Detroit.
I love his name.
Yep.
I like his name.
Good name.
For the year, he's 7 receptions, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. He seems to be the targeted receiver around the end zone.
They're throwing the ball around, too.
They are, yeah. So I like him, and I like 2 tight ends. I like Evan Ingram, who's been injured but coming back.
Yeah, I do like him.
You like him at the same time or one at a time? You prefer one of the tight ends over the other?
I don't think he can handle 2 at a time.
I don't think he can either. He doesn't look like he can handle 2
And then the other one, I'm going to ignore this whole line of conversation. Is
I'm just answering his question.
Max Williams for Arizona. You know, he came out in 2015. He was a highly regarded tight end. A lot of talk about him being the number one guy.
The unimpressed.
Never really catched on, but 7 for 94 yards, and he seems to be the clear number one tight end.
And if you want to stick with tight end, Carolina's finally got a clear number one in Dan Arnold, who was in Arizona. Now Arnold went out to Carolina. It's another guy you can pick up off the waiver wire. And
this reminds me of Roseanne.
Another, another wide receiver under the radar that you can pluck off the waiver wire too is Cole Beasley 3.0, Mr. Hunter Renfrow.
Hunter.
I'd say the same thing about Braxton Berrios too.
Yeah, Berrios was sneaky good last year too. Some weeks Berrios could have won you leagues.
Yeah, he's the next Cole Beasley.
All right. So that's all I've got. You guys, anybody else for waivers?
No, I didn't really go over waivers.
Renfrow, another 7 targets this week, man. Renfrow is
he's doing numbers. All right, so we'll move right into the next segment. We're going to be talking about our cloud chasers.
Now, before we do this,
I think that's
let's go over the ground rules.
Oh, Anchorman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You didn't cue me on that.
No, I'm trying to be.
It was just spontaneous.
Okay.
Trying to be fluid.
Caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. All right.
So what are the ground rules? Explain this to us.
Basically, we did this last week. So for anybody that didn't see it, we're just gonna name a few dudes and have you guys respond whether you think they have clout or they're clout chasers. Basically saying, for all of those that aren't in the know, are they for real or are they faking it? And that's it. You can elaborate a little if you want. I'll
save you some time. Any Brown on there is definitely a chaser.
Okay. All right, so we'll start with the big one. Tony Pollard.
I think it's clout.
It's definitely clout.
It's clout.
You don't get work like that in that offense with Zeke on the team.
I'll tell you what.
If it's not clout. And look like he does.
Here's the thing, too. The average yards. Zeke is like a pedestrian, 3.9, 3 point, or right at 4. He's at 8. 8 yards per run.
Yeah.
And not only that, but there's only one reception that separates the two.
Well, I'll say this real quick before we go to the next one. Zeke had only 2 more touches than him.
Yeah.
And Pollard outgained him by 43 yards. So that's an
and
issue, and they're basically almost
Now,
a committee right now.
To
Real
be
quick,
fair,
too,
he could be facing different defensive looks, too.
Yeah, he could, and I think that Pollard catches him off guard because when he's in, they don't necessarily expect him to run.
That might be fine, but if it continues that way, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
We were high on Zeke.
Oh, yeah, we are.
In fact, in our league,
I wasn't $165 high in our league on him.
which is what he went. He went
Yeah.
165 in your league,
Yeah.
and 162 in my league.
$500 salary caps.
Yeah, so this is a scary for those teams. They have bit the big one.
Yeah. All right, so next guy, we're going to go your favorite quarterback, Mr. Daniel Dimes.
Danny Dimes.
And,
Danny Dimes.
I'll give you his stat line. Well,
You don't have to. I'm going to give you the stat line.
Go for it.
Averaging 32 point something fantasy points per week in the first 2 weeks, facing decent defenses.
Yeah, Washington is
good
great.
defenses, yeah.
Washington, and then
People thought Washington was the best defense in the league coming into the year.
And then
Denver's looked really good, right? So Clout chaser.
He's clout, man. I got to give it to him. He's got legs, man.
Yeah.
He's got legs, and like ZZ Top said, he knows how to use them.
There you go.
He's a quarterback I want to like. So
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Like, I make fun of him, but I want to like him. I love his running.
He's Baker Mayfield 3.0.
Yeah,
He throws the ball well,
he's
too.
going to score. Well, he throws the ball well, but he can be erratic at times. Drives me crazy.
So, I mean, like I said, I think this offense and fantasy output,
That's what you're going for.
along the lines, it really it depends on the coaching, how they're going to call the game, because it makes a world of difference with how he plays. All right, so
My
I
thing
say
is, though,
clout for
like,
him as well.
Clout, because if it was Baker or him, Baker, I think, is honestly maybe a better quarterback. I think Danny is a better fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, I'd argue, but we don't have time. All right, so the next guy is Rondell Moore.
11
want to bring up this stat? We don't have
11
to.
receptions, 13 targets, 182 yards for a touchdown. Longest is 77, so he's definitely can break it away.
Yeah.
I think it's clout. I think they're
What do
going
you
to
think?
use him.
Clout chaser.
I think it's clout.
Yeah.
But and what's crazy is they're using 4 wide receivers, and they're using them all pretty effectively out
They
there
are
in the
yeah.
desert.
Except for aged Green.
Well, Green scored a touchdown.
He scored a touchdown,
dude,
but-
and it looked
He
like
looked like
old
Green.
AJ Green.
But
on
all
that
right, so
touchdown.
clout. I got clout as
Clout.
well. The only thing
I'm not sold there yet.
point I'll mention is I think this hurts guys that took Hopkins early, paid a premium for him. I think it's going to affect his. He's still going to get his looks, but he's not going to be what he was last year. All right, then we'll go to Mike Williams of the Chargers. Clout chased through 2 weeks. He looks a lot more productive than he's looked in the past, 3 years.
And he's been productive in the last 3
but
years.
it's a step up. I
This
think
is
right
definitely-
I
now.
think he's finally healthy.
He's finally the wide receiver 2 that they drafted him to be as well.
Well, and he's the receiver that actually is catching the touchdowns. Like,
Yes.
it's always been Keenan Allen short passes. So
Hunter Henry, who's
Yeah.
not there anymore.
I think if Williams stays healthy, he is clout.
Clout.
I agree. I don't want to see it turn into a Devontae Parker situation where finally he breaks out year 4 and then
Yeah.
again fades away.
I'm going to go clout chaser for him just because I think the injuries he's had, back concerns, I think that doesn't go away.
I think that's fair.
And I think there's a chance you lose him for a few games this year. But
Well, and I think if you do, Josh Palmer is a freaking stud. And I think he'll fill right in that spot. And then when Mike comes back, it might be hard for him
it
to
goes to
break
maybe
back in.
speculative ad in a smaller roster leagues. Go add what's his name? Josh Palmer.
Josh Palmer.
All right.
Josh Palmer he's a stud.
All right, and on the other end of this thing, we'll talk about some guys that haven't been all that great or at least lived up to their draft status or what you paid for them. We're still going to do the same thing, but they're just guys that haven't performed as well. We'll go James Robinson. Does he still have clout, or is he proven that he's a clout chaser at this point?
They played a really good defense. I think Denver is one of the top 3-4 defenses in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate to say, because his average yards 4.3, no issues there. If he did that, he'd be a starting running back. I don't like Jacksonville. I don't like how Urban's coaching and how he's mixing it up. I think he's mixing in Hyde and a few other running backs.
Clout?
I'll say
Clout
clout chaser only because of I think he'll be held back by the coaching.
So he is capped, and here's what I want to bring up. I think it's still clout because I think James Robinson can do it, and I think Jacksonville is going to figure it out a little bit. You have the rookie quarterback who's thrown 5 interceptions through the first 2 games, right? So you're not necessarily worried about the pass when you face Jacksonville, so you're going to load the box. Then they're calling audibles, and then they're passing anyway, and they're getting snake bitten with it. With that being said, James Robinson should be touching the ball a lot more than he is.
I agree.
4.3 is respectable, but if they're not going to get him the ball, then he's not going to produce. So, you can make the argument for clout chaser, but I think that he's very dynamic. They still look to him in the dump-offs, but I think once Lawrence gets his head out of his ass and Urban Meyer kind of figures out the NFL a little bit, I think they're going to really utilize Robinson to his full potential. I like him for clout. I just think you might have to sit on him and wait a couple more weeks, but eventually James Robinson is going to stand up.
So by your logic, if you can trade for him right now, while he's a little bit down, maybe undervalued, maybe you trade for him and stash him.
Yes.
Okay.
Cloud chaser. I just say if he has a good week, I probably try to trade him. I don't think I like him. I just don't know how I feel about Meyer and Lawrence and if that's going to get sorted out this year. All right. JTT. I'm going to say I think he still has clout. The talent's there. He had a decent week one. Didn't really do what you needed him to if you took him high. But week 2 was bad. What do you guys think?
I still think clout. The workload is there. And let's face it, the Rams have a pretty solid defense, right? You got Aaron Donald, who's one of the best front guys in the game, if not the best, right? So it's going to be a little tough sledding when it comes to that. 3.4 average on Sunday against the Rams, not the greatest, but he's still heavily involved, right? He had 1 target, which he caught, and then he had 15 carries. We had 15 of only 26 carries there, right? So he is carrying the bulk of the load. When he starts,
a very good defense.
Yeah, and once he starts facing some softer defenses and they're able to open it up through the air, creating more lanes for him, and then also getting him out in the passing attack, I think we're going to see some monster games from Taylor. And
Monster.
I think they're coming.
It's good cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's my issue. I think he's still clout, but when I look at his schedule, he faces the Titans, decent defense, the Dolphins, decent defense, the Ravens, great defense. It doesn't really get easy until Texans, and then he follows that up again with the 49ers and the Titans. So he's got a tough schedule against defenses, and I don't know that Wentz helps him.
You might be right.
Anyways, but I still think Cloud, he's a quality running back.
Last but not least, we'll
Way
go.
to beat a man down and then tell him that he's
shit.
that he's your world.
Saquon Barkley. I'm going to say clout chaser.
I'm surprised by that.
Why?
You want to know why? Because that's the hard homer take on him. He's down on it. He's like a goddamn Eagles
I still
fan.
like him, but
They're going to trade him like they traded OBJ.
Week 1.
I didn't say any of that, but okay.
Week 1, the Eagles fans are like, oh, don't sleep on our team. We're awesome. Super Bowl bound. Week 2, guess what? Back to reality, and now they're down on their team again, right?
Daniel Jones has been the leading rusher the first 2 weeks of the season. You got Ingram coming back. They're not targeting him in the pass game. With the success that they had on offense last week, I say there's more of the RPO. Now, maybe down the line somewhere, he starts getting closer to 100%, and maybe he keeps more of those RPOs. But I'm saying for where you drafted him or what you paid for him, I think he's a cloud chaser right now. I don't think he's going to
I think he went
be
in
where
the top.
where you thought he was going to be.
He went in the top 5 or 6. And the thing is, I remember, in fact, we might want to replay that tape. In our fantasy draft episode, I said I wouldn't draft him in the top 10 because of his injury.
I'm sure you would want us to say that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we should go back and listen to the tape because it was.
You want to make sure you said that first?
Spit and pearls. I absolutely said that. But I, he had a 4.4 yard average last week.
No.
I think
but that was buoyed by a 41-yard run.
That's fair.
He had 2 yards on 7 more carries.
That's fair, yeah. But I think it's just he's shaking off the rust. He's a little bit nervous. I almost wonder if they shouldn't have started him the first couple games.
I agree.
Let him rust.
I just think you already have something, the run game working with Jones. And I think even if he gets back up to speed and he gets more of a piece of it, that
and
Jones is going to still be heavily involved.
Jones isn't Kyle Murray where you're afraid to run him because he's about the size of a,
No, Jones lowered the shoulder.
Big guy.
He'll hit people.
So how many of those runs for Daniel Jones were designed, though? I didn't watch this garbage game.
Most of them.
Were they design runs?
It was a great game, actually.
Because honestly, the only person competing for touches with Saquon is Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
So I think they're doing exactly that. They're allowing him to shake off some of the rust.
Was 9 rushes.
Yeah.
Probably 8 of them were designed.
8 of them were designed.
One was a rush, touchdown designed run, too.
Yeah. So that shows me that they are trying to take some pressure off of him and maybe let him get up the game speed while giving him just the right amount of touches to get him there.
Well, and
I think there's still clout.
This is what I think. I think that I don't think the coach has made a mistake here. The coach has looked and said, my God, we start against the Broncos and the Washington Redskins, 2 of the premier defenses in the league. Washington football team. Let's keep Saquon safe, get him some reps, and let's loosen the defense by running Daniel Jones. And
you may be right.
And it's like they have scored points.
Yeah.
Their issue.
I just don't think. What I'm saying is, I think all that stuff is right. I just don't think halfway through the season they're just going to abandon the running with Jones either.
I think
it's still going to affect
this
him.
next game against the Falcons.
Oh, I think he might run wild.
The next 3 games is going to be the Falcons. It's the Falcons, Saints, and Cowboys.
Yeah,
so we're going to see exactly.
Yeah, we'll see where he is.
You know,
all right. So I think that's it for our cloud chasers.
All right, guys. So let's talk about this upcoming week slate, week 3. Let's highlight a couple of games here and see what we think. You know, who are the studs? Who are the studs that we're putting in our lineups, and who are the guys that we're trying to avoid in these games? I think week 3 provides a very nice slate here, and a couple games we're going to highlight. How about we start off with how about them Chargers at the Chiefs
at Arrowhead?
Yeah,
I seen a video the other day. It was like they were doing stadium tours.
Are they still allowed to call it Arrowhead?
Yeah, they are. Well,
yeah. What are you on that? Come on, relax.
Yeah, give it a week.
So they were giving a guy a tour of the stadium. Did you know that their field is actually built 2 stories below sea level?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, you kind of you go down into it, right?
And the way it's designed, so the way the seating is designed, it kind of just lets everything kind of stay, the noise stay in the stadium.
One of the loudest.
So there's only 2 of them, and they just yelled, "Let's go!" and you could hear the echo. It was pretty crazy.
Wow. Real quick, Orlando City Soccer does the same thing. So you actually enter on the road, and then they built the stadium up. And so it does the same sound effect.
What was he just talking about?
I think he was just talking about every other stadium in the entire country.
No, I'm saying what sport?
Orlando City Soccer.
Soccer?
Yeah.
Okay.
You drive in on the road, and then the stadium goes up.
You walk in on the road, and the stadium is down.
Oh.
Yeah, it's built below the actual roadway by like 2 stories.
Nobody cares about soccer.
Right. So millions of people in the world.
Well, I'm
care
not
about
one of them. So
nobody on this channel does.
I'm sad for you.
So don't be.
All right. So that's an interesting tidbit about the Chiefs.
A little tidbit for you.
Very interesting. You should write a book about that.
Okay, so
maybe I will.
So let's talk about the Chargers first.
What we tough week last week. Austin Eckler, no touchdown. He's been underwhelming so far.
Yeah.
He's still got in the workload.
Yeah,
for sure. But
so who do you start? Who do you start? You feel good about?
Obviously,
you feel good about Eckler still.
Allen, Williams.
See, I don't know that I start Allen.
I gotta start Allen.
Ooh, I'm starting, especially against the Chiefs. I'm starting Allen all day long.
The Chiefs have done pretty well. Honestly.
Chiefs defense has been like the worst in the league.
It's been the worst in the league
3
against the rush, but against the pass, it's been decent.
Dude, we talk all the time about how Lamar is a shit passer, and Lamar torched him.
There was a whole lot of running mixed in.
Torched him.
That's fair.
Mixed in.
Yeah.
Okay, so you start Allen. You start.
I think he's still at the point 2 weeks in.
Do you start Williams?
Start Allen.
So you just counterpointed yourself. You said there was a whole lot of running mixed in.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, because they were getting beat through the air and on the ground.
No,
That's a shit defense.
Okay.
How much points did they hang on them?
Oh yeah, what was that? 30,
35, 34?
35, 36, something like that.
And the Browns they lost by what, 2 points?
But the Browns also have a much inferior offense when compared to Baltimore.
I
don't know if they
sickeningly.
Yeah, I would disagree with that.
Baltimore is.
I would disagree with that.
Their quarterback is about 6 levels above Cleveland.
That's also not true.
That quarterback is a great runner. He's a good running back.
He's a dynamic player. He can make throws when he has. I mean, listen.
He can make throws to wide open receivers.
Right now, I would
Brown.
take. You wouldn't take Lamar Jackson over me. I mean, how are we talking about?
Of course you would. Fantasy,
so,
what about KC?
So Mike Williams, I guess, is the guy we're really questioning, right? Do we start him here?
Absolutely.
Do we believe it? You start him, no matter. Yeah.
10 targets.
I think in this game,
Most targeted receiver.
Obviously.
Yeah. Well, I think if
this
they're
game
going to cover one
scoring.
receiver, they're going to cover Keenan Allen. They're going to look at Eckler. I think it still allows Williams to get open.
Let's face it. It doesn't matter how good your defense is. The Chiefs are going to score. So you have to put points on the board.
And Air Bear is throwing it. That guy don't give a damn, man. He don't give a damn. Like for a second.
All right. So what about the Chiefs? Are we starting Clyde Edwards-Helaire? How we feel about him?
This doesn't look good.
I've never been a huge CEH fan, and I don't think this matchup favors CEH. I think this matchup definitely does favor Kelsey and obviously Hill, but I think who we should maybe try to think about here is those next 3, Hardman, Pringle, and Robinson. They were all getting decent looks.
Bring up Hill's numbers. Can you bring up? What I'll say is I think there might have been a blueprint game last week. They still hung up over 30 points, but they took Hill out of that game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
And
it's
I'm not
Baltimore. I don't think most teams can take Hill out of the game.
Well, Baltimore is for the first time in their history since that franchise has started has given up over 30 points in their first 2 games. So I don't know that their defense is as good as we think it is.
Their best corner is still able to cover a great receiver. That's all. So they were able to take out one guy. But you had in receiving, you had Kelsey who had 8 targets,
and Hardman tied him. I think Hardman is the guy who
Hardman had 8 targets. Yeah.
We talked about him being in our Next Man Up segment, and I think Hardman's coming through so far early in the season.
I would disagree, and here's why.
And Jerick McKinnon's not. Whoever was saying that he looks great.
I think Byron Pringle, if you're going to take, I think Byron Pringle, if you're going to take a shot at somebody, he's got more. It seems, and I don't know how this is possible, because we know Hardman is quick. But Pringle's actually seemed like he's been the separator.
He's got a little zip and pip. It's because he's facing DB4s.
That's fine, but whatever, for fantasy points.
Yeah, that's fair.
He had more fantasy points.
But he's only targeted twice.
Yeah, Hardman probably has a more
Caught 'em both.
better floor, though.
So
Hardman has an issue with drops.
all right, you're talking about arguably the best quarterback in the game, right?
Yes.
And now you're looking at your wide receiver 4. That's his 4th look through his progression. How many times are Kelsey, Hill, and Hardman going to be press covered where you're looking Pringle's way? Pringle's ceiling is 2 to 3 targets a game because he's not going to need to work through his progression. And you're not drawing plays up for Byron Pringle unless you highlight a matchup where he is on a DB4 that is just dog shit slow.
Somebody who's owned Hardman in the past.
Yeah,
It's a little bit different.
Yeah, he drops a lot of passes that he should catch.
he does drop passes.
His speed doesn't show up on the field. He doesn't score touchdowns. To me, I'm not saying that they're not going to mix those two in more. I think they are, and they need to. I think Tyreek Hill is going to be just fine. I think it's just fine.
Absolutely.
The week before, he had 187 yards.
When they play against good defenses, there may be a blueprint there.
Well, who shadowed him?
Maybe, but I
Peters?
think the Browns are a better defense than Baltimore, and he got 187 yards there.
No, Peters is out.
Yeah, but
Peters
they
is out.
didn't. I'm just saying they played
Peters
that
is
game.
out.
I think we'll see.
Was it Marlon Humphrey? Who shadowed Hill? Was it Humphrey?
Yes.
I have no idea.
It was Humphrey because Peters was out. And in the game before,
I slept through that game for most of it.
in the game before, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the referee, a KC coach pushed one of the Browns.
Oh, yeah, I seen that.
Yeah, Ronnie Harrison, who was the corner covering Tyreek, second play of the game, he got thrown out of the game.
Oh, wow.
So it changed the entire, the dynamics of the game. But I don't disagree. I think Hardman's got a much higher ceiling.
I just think he's going to get targeted more, honestly.
Yeah,
Right.
that's fair.
On him to
On
catch
to
it.
Kelsey's 100%, right?
Yeah.
He's a man among men.
Yeah. All right. So what we got? We got Jayville at home, right on Duval Street, hosting them Cardinals.
Yeah.
That Arizona offense, Kyler Murray, man.
You got to go Kyler.
Clout, dude. You want to talk clout?
Yeah.
Clout.
Yeah,
I don't
gotta
think
go
it's a
Kyler.
question.
Kyler is getting it done.
All right, so Hopkins is obvious. How you feeling about Edmonds after week 2?
I still like Edmonds.
Yeah.
I mean, I think let me review some stats here, but I think Edmonds is still getting the bulk of the carries. 8 carries, but that was a very pass-heavy game. 36 attempts.
How many targets in the past game?
In the past game, he had 5 targets and he caught all 5 of them.
That's good.
So I mean, it's serviceable, right?
Well,
You're not going out. He's not your running back 1. He's potentially a fill-in running back 2, and you're happy about him in good matchups like this as your flex.
Well, and
I have no problem flexing him.
They split 8 carries for each for him and James.
And I'll be
Conner.
honest, I liked how Connor looked running the ball better than Edmonds.
Yeah, you liked his 3.3
Yeah, he
yards
had
I'm
a-
just
per
saying
carry.
with the ball. I liked how he looked with the ball in his hand. That's maybe it's something else.
He's
I
just a
don't know.
big guy, but I
Seems
would
like
say
it's
that
something else.
Edmonds
Is
is
it his
gonna,
cologne?
Edmonds is going to be probably the safer bet here.
I appreciate a good fragrance on him.
Do you start Rondell Moore?
That's tough. I think.
He's a flex again.
Yeah. I mean,
But
can
he's
we
looking
say
at 13 targets?
and Christian Kirk?
13 targets for the year.
What is Christian had only what?
Christian
Only had
Kirk had
3 and
4
4
targets.
targets.
Well, week 1 though, he had a pretty decent game though.
Yeah, and they're treating Kirk as the field stretcher
I mean,
too.
here's the deal. He's got 9 targets, and he's caught 8 of them, compared to 13 targets for 11 for Rondell Moore. I think Rondell's almost going to be like that Juju Smith, that catches him close to the line with enough speed to kind of get around.
Only 2 weeks. I mean, it looks like maybe he just might wind up being the number 2 wideout.
Yeah.
And you got to give him consideration this week, especially going up against Jacksonville.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All
What
right,
about
so-
Max?
but, I mean,
what about
if-
Max Williams?
There's also a chance though that they get up early and they're not tossing the ball.
Also very true.
Yeah.
At which point you either got Chase Edmonds or a guy that you think looks cute running the ball, and James
Wow,
Conner.
I've never said cute.
You probably got
you see,
Kyler
sometimes
Murray
you
running
cross
the
the
ball
line.
because the other two are subpar. I think Kyler Murray. So.
That's true.
Okay,
All
what
right.
about Minnesota?
Jacksonville?
Oh, jeez.
Why are you saying Minnesota?
Minnesota was
Because we
last
played
week.
him last
Yeah,
week.
last week.
He's got the
Jesus.
stats up on the.
What about Trevor Lawrence? What do you do with Trevor Lawrence? That guy. Listen, 3 interceptions the first game.
2 more?
2 more. The first game, did you watch it?
No.
Should have been 5 interceptions.
And Daniel.
2 of them called back.
No, should have been. I mean, 2 interceptions that were such bad throws, the defenders didn't even realize it was coming near them.
Yeah.
But
He looks bad.
the eye test tells you, though, that he is so good.
It's the long hair.
So good.
It's a lot
So
more.
early on in this career.
Yeah.
The eye test.
The eye test.
This is he's
Yeah, I know.
pissing and moaning.
All right, so you started James Robinson this week, so
Yes.
okay.
Maybe with a little reservation, because Arizona's front 4 is solid, right?
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
been
Chandler Jones had 5 sacks week 1.
Yeah, you look good.
I don't know if did he follow that up with any sacks this week? I don't think so, right?
Tell you what, that defense got torched though by Captain Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins. I tell you what, say what you want about that guy. He's
I'm a Kirk Cousins fan.
he's
I like
fantastic.
Kirk Cousins.
And Cook, man, Cook went off 131.
Cook's hurt.
Now only 1 sack last week, and
Cook came back in after he was hurt, though.
That was by
I read
Marcus.
he's still on the
Golden.
injury report.
I'm sure he probably is, because I think they were saying that he may have tweaked his groin, but he went into the tent, and I got a little freaked out, but then he
Big
came
groin
back
guy.
out and he was out for the next series.
Yeah. Okay.
And if I'm going to start anybody in Jacksonville,
It's going to be the best
it's
receiver
going
in
to
the league.
be Robinson reluctantly. And
Marvin Jones.
You know what? I will
Christ.
give you your credit, Marvin Jones, right now.
20 targets.
All right.
20 targets.
Don't make that
All
face.
right,
Don't do the
dude.
thing with your lip. You don't need to do that.
You guys will be drinking. You're going to be drinking mayo. I'm just
Hey,
telling
if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll lick the mail out of the shot glass.
He said
right?
that. He said that like with
Conviction.
He seems a little bit.
this is
I was gonna
excited
say,
about
you think
that mayo.
you think you intimidate me, or
I think
scare
mayo.
me with mayonnaise?
I think he'll puke with mayo.
No,
to be honest with you.
I'll
he's
you're crazy.
He's pretty for a guy who says that he hates mayonnaise.
I
and
do
says
hate it.
White people put it in everything.
I never
he
said
has
that.
made 2
Wait. I
super
never
huge
said that.
convictions
Pretty sure I
about
saw.
wanting to
I'm pretty
eat
sure I
this
saw it
mayonnaise.
move. I think I saw it move. I'm just saying. You got a little excited about that mayo.
I hate mayonnaise.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to let anybody hold anything over me. You will not have me here scared of mayonnaise.
All right, so let's up the
drink
ante.
it.
How
All right?
about other fluids? I
I don't
if
know
you're
what
not
you're
afraid-
talking about.
No, I mean if you're not afraid.
Well, I'm
right?
not just going to agree to fluids.
Well, come on.
Miscellaneous fluids. we get to, specify what we're
I
talking
mean, you
about.
don't want.
It's a
I don't know what
it's a
kind of
blind
party you
box.
want to make this, buddy.
I don't think you want to, have anybody hold anything over on you. I'm just saying, it's carte
Okay,
blanche.
so I don't know that we're going there.
So
I'm just talking about mayo.
So what we can do is, since I'm white, we can strain it out of my high C because we put mayo in everything.
I never said that.
Oh man, okay.
I know plenty of black and Spanish people that use mayonnaise. Okay? It's not a race
Yeah.
specific thing. Anyway,
All right.
all right. So Jacksonville, Marvin Lewis, right?
Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones.
Close.
Marvin Lewis was a great
Marvin
coach,
Lewis,
though.
was he a great coach?
I liked him.
Did you?
All right. So anyway, we're all getting off track. All right. So are we still starting Chenault here?
He just hasn't. It's been really weird. They've kind of really targeted Shark. They've targeted Jones. They've
I think you
targeted
still
running
start
backs.
Shark.
I mean, I think you still start Chenault too. I'm just not. Again,
So who do you not
flex
start?
consideration.
Who do you not start in this offense?
I think you start.
Because you
not-
just said you'd start everybody.
No. I'm not starting Shark.
So Shark, you're not starting.
I'm not starting Shark.
That's crazy.
How's it crazy? Jarka had 4 targets. Laviska, who only had 2 receptions, still had 7 targets. I mean, Laviska is more involved in this offense.
But he's not going to keep being involved if he can't
produce
on 7 targets. But if you're only catching 2 of the targets, you think you're going to keep going to him 7 times a game?
Because this could be, and I don't watch the game. I don't watch the Jacksonville games. This could be a product of Trevor Lawrence not being the overall number 1
Are the other guys catching more than 15% of their targets?
Marvin Jones?
Okay. It's not just that he didn't catch his targets. He was negative 3 yards. So the ones he caught, he got pulled behind the line. Wonder if he's not slightly injured. He's not Laviscus from last year.
Well, we didn't have this conversation week 1 because week 1 he put up a nice week 1 with the touchdown.
Yeah.
You know, I think the emergence of Marvin Jones.
Yeah. Say it again.
Pat yourself on the back for that.
That's right. You guys.
All right, I had enough talking about Jacksonville. Let's move on to your next game you got up there. The old Rams there at Tampa Bay.
It's a great game. Listen, last year Tampa Bay was rolling like thunder, and the Rams came in and beat their ass and looked great doing it. Controlled the game, and that was with Goff.
Goff looked. Hey, I mean, we're not talking about Goff. Yeah, he's not Stafford for sure.
Goff has looked great. Goff is also top 5 quarterback as of right now. Fantasy
That's what I was trying to tell him. He's not talking about regular football.
Goff has been a good fantasy producer.
Well, that's what the show is
Please
about.
don't say he's looked great.
He has for a fantasy.
He's looked fantastic through my thick fantasy.
But he hasn't looked bad.
He hasn't looked bad. No, he's been Goff. But
I think he's looked better than he did the last year.
He's running for his life. Yeah, I would say that.
I mean, he's throwing the ball with conviction. That's what I'll say. And God's gift to football, Cooper Kupp. Wow.
Yeah.
I played against him this week. Not fun.
He picked up where he left off 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, and he looks like the touchdown, vulture.
Dude, he looks like an absolute stud. He's got wide receiver 1 written all over him to the point where I am now second guessing how high I was on Robert Woods.
Right.
You know,
right.
Means you're gay.
Kupp is turning into the receiver that I thought Woods was going to be. Mm-hmm. And I mean, let's face it. This is week 2, right? This is total overreaction. But Woods could emerge. But Kupp looks great.
What kind of receiver is Woods? Like, there's a difference. Like, Woods is a capable, consistent, really great receiver.
He's a possession receiver.
He's an absolute possession receiver. He's the definition of possession receiver.
Kupp just has that breakaway ability, and it looks like he's getting the ball right now.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
You know, to me, I think...
So are we still starting Woods?
Yeah.
Still start?
Yeah, I think so. I want to point this out. Tampa Bay looks beatable. All right? Dallas, who didn't look that great in week 2, took him to the brink and probably could have and should have won that game, right? And then, you know, Tampa Bay is up big on Atlanta. Atlanta mounts a bit of a comeback before, big interception.
Are you projecting the wins and losses right now?
Hey, no, I'm just saying that I think that this is sneaky because I think you might see, defending Super Bowl champions, currently 2-0, they're steamrolling over everybody. Well, guess what? Rams have an awesome fantasy offense, and they're coming to town. I think they're gonna show you all of Tampa Bay's shortcomings here.
Buccaneers are hurt on defense. They got some guys coming back. Matt Ryan looked not just good. You want to talk about looking good? Matt Ryan looked like 2014 Matt Ryan. He was incredibly intuitive. If you haven't watched the game, go back and watch the third and fourth quarter. I was so impressed with Matt Ryan. That being said, Tampa was bailed out because there was a fumble and interception return for touchdowns. Yeah. That was how they got their points. But you start Brady, you start Evans. Mm-hmm. I think you start Godwin.
And I think you can still start Brown, too. You definitely start Gronk. I think at this point you're starting Gronk.
You're starting Gronk without a question.
Neither running back.
I think Brown is a nice flex play just because we've seen the big week 1, not so much week 2. I think he's a guy that's going to – we'll see. Maybe he develops into more consistent. But I think if you need maybe your lineup, you got a guy injured, you need some upside, is a nice flex play this week.
Yeah. What about I don't start Ronald Jones. I don't really want to start Leonard Fournette.
I don't want to start any of their backs.
No, I'm not starting him against that Rams front. As we just pointed out, how they held Taylor, who I think is a much superior back to either of those two. I don't think anybody in their backfield is worth starting. On the Rams side of the ball, back to that.
I start Goff if I have him. If he's my core, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm tempted. It depends on
year?
who I had in front of him. I'm saying.
Last year you're starting him?
What are you talking about?
It's Stafford.
Oh shit!
I was just going to let him go with
I
that.
said you should have, because I would have went all the way.
Keep going. I should have gotten some stats out of you.
Yeah, all right. No, I might have. All right, so yeah, Stafford obviously. You said Woods still, Cup.
Yeah.
Are we starting Michelle? Are we starting the tight end?
So if Higbee has been a disappointment so far too, but if Henderson
what are you doing back
is
here?
injured, if Henderson is injured, I think you might consider starting Michelle here too.
Yeah, no, I
mean,
I think Michelle's a good start.
If I'm in the spot where I need to, yeah. I mean,
We should have never given you. We'll have no idea whatever
No,
comes
there was
up on
some
there.
pornographic pictures. No, came up on my phone. No, I'm joking. But
all right, so let's move on to the next game. What
All
do we
right.
got?
We have the Battle of the Man Buns. We have Aaron Rodgers versus George Kittle. Green Bay at San Fran.
I think you said
Man
it.
Bun galore.
you said it when we were talking before.
Man Bunzalooza.
Rodgers
Bunzapalooza.
looked pissed. He looked like, and he looked good. He was hitting receivers in stride.
Yeah.
In fact, Marquis missed a touchdown after he could have had another touchdown that Devontae probably catches. Man, he looked good. He just looked.
We're burying
strong.
the lead here, though. I mean, with Aaron Jones, four touchdowns.
4 touchdowns.
Yeah, but
Obviously
3
not
of them
gonna
were
happen
touched,
again?
though, right? Or 3 of them were passes.
I don't
Yeah.
know that it's obviously not going to happen. Aaron Jones looks solid, man.
I'm talking
And
about this defense they're going up against,
Yeah,
though.
this defense is tough. This
Defense is pretty good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You know,
I mean, they went against Hurts, who was amazing week 1. They held him to, 6 points?
Yeah, he didn't, and he didn't look good. He looked like Hurts.
Oh, I mean, here's the problem. He had a 91-yard completion in that game.
Yeah.
And they didn't put up any points on that. How do you not put points up?
Yeah.
So, but it just goes to show they got beat on a big play, but they were able to stiffen up, which
Wow.
we love.
But we're definitely saying you're starting Adams,
Yeah, you're
starting
starting all
Rodgers,
those guys.
starting.
is there a
Aaron.
receiver you're starting outside of
the telltale sign.
I like Tanya, and I think Tanya's coming on.
Well, Tanya,
Tanya is coming on.
Tanya, you're gonna
That was a great
start.
catch last night for the touchdown. I think it's going to be telltale pregame warning us what Aaron Rodgers would get. If he's got his hair down, he's pissed. He's gonna let it fly.
Yeah.
If he's got it up in that cutesy little bun, Green Bay's in for another.
It's no
Shit show.
secret that he grew up a 49ers fan.
Yeah.
He wanted to be drafted there. I think he's.
I think he's
So you're saying the
and-
hair's going to be down?
The hair's going to be down. The
hair's
playoff
down.
losses to them.
Yeah.
I think he goes in there with his hair on fire.
I think
No.
Jimmy makes some mistakes still. Jimmy just doesn't seem to be. He's good. He's solid. I like
he's
Debo.
solid.
I like Debo. I think you start Debo.
I like
next game.
Debo. I
You're
think
starting
right
Debo
now
here.
Debo over Ayuk.
Although
right
if
now.
they put
Oh, Ayuk looks like where is he?
yeah,
has anybody seen that stat on Jair Alexander yet?
no,
He's had 1 touchdown scored against him since week 1 in 2020. Like
Oh, wow.
Jair Alexander is just shutting people down.
That's fair.
And if Debo draws
I'm still starting.
Jair Alexander,
probably will, but I still have to start him if I have him.
yeah.
I'm not starting.
I mean,
Ayuk.
it's a tough sit. It would be a very difficult sit, but I'm just saying, consider if you have somebody there like a Marvin Jones,
Yeah,
and you're between the two, Marvin Jones might be worth that start.
That's fair. What about running back? Who do you? Do we know who's going to be the
well,
main
we
guy?
already talked about this.
Yeah, but
so,
I mean, do you start
think you
Elijah?
just gotta-
Do you start Jamal or Michael?
I think you start whoever's healthy.
Okay.
I mean, it depends on the league. I don't know if they're your running back 1 or 2. But
I mean, Green Bay didn't look terrible against the run, so I
No, they
mean,
didn't.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know that you necessarily want to start anybody in.
if I get Elijah Mitchell back and he's the lead dog, and I can play him at the flex in my league, in my league where there's the super flex.
Yeah, and he's going to get the touches.
I might start him there
might
just
start him
because of the workload.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
You got nobody,
Hey,
poaching carries.
Note to Aaron Rodgers. You got to shave part of your neck. Like, you can't grow the beard and it's like.
Neck beard.
Yeah, just come on. You got to shave. You got to clean
He's
it up a little
He's
bit.
a man of nature.
What is classy about that guy? Why would you think that he would clean up his neck?
Wow, you
Aaron,
guys are
got a
disgusting.
goddamn
Aaron, you
man
dated
bun.
Olivia Wilde at one point. Get yourself together. God dang it. Shave that neck. All right.
And you dated
Next
Danica
game.
Patrick. I mean, he never shaved his neck beard either.
Okay. Last game we're going to talk about is Baltimore versus Detroit. And this is a sneaky one.
Sorry, Danica. I don't think you're one of our viewers, but just in case. Canceled.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Yeah.
I like
All
that.
right.
I gotta
So
be honest.
Baltimore at Detroit.
Baltimore scoring points.
Yeah, I mean,
Looking good.
so let's just Jackson. We don't have to talk about him.
Yep.
How do you guys feel about Hollywood?
Let's talk about Jackson.
No, he's
think
great.
Just to piss Rocky off.
No. I have him on my team in fantasy. You got to start Jackson every game.
Marquis Brown.
I like Hollywood is starting to grow on me because he seems like he's putting it all together.
He's finally getting open.
Well,
Yeah.
he's getting open because I think Watkins is taking a fair amount of pressure off him,
That might be fair.
and
that
he's
might be
gotten
fair.
and when he's getting open, he's getting wide open.
Yeah.
So I like him, but who do you start at running back? Because Williams looks better to me, but they keep pushing Murray. It's like a 50-50.
See, I think Murray. To me, I think Murray looks a little bit more the part because he seems like the consistent runner. Tyson, and they pointed out, he didn't make the same mistake on the very next run, but he missed a wide open lane where he could have ran like a 30-yard touchdown in.
Yeah.
And I think you're still going to get a lot of inconsistency with Tyson. So you're going to get a lot of Murray still in that game. I think it's going to be 50-50 splits. And then they're going to pepper in, just like they did the other night, Freeman. At some point, they're probably going to activate Bell.
Yeah. Well, Bell's on their practice squad, and I think he can't be active for this game.
Well, yeah, so I'd say I'd probably start Murray this week.
Yeah, I think I would start Murray too because I think Murray's also going to get the goal line touches here against Detroit.
I just disagree only because if you look at even like year to date, the touches are kind of even, but Williams has shown more potential. He had a 5.9 yard average last week. It was helped by 120-yard run, but still.
Yeah.
I'm
saying this week you're going Williams.
I'm going Williams. The thing that I do like is both of these guys are big bruising backs.
You like that?
So it's almost like you watch the defense wear down against these because they just keep ramming them in there. And, you got Tyson is 230 pounds.
You need some music? You need,
No,
you get a little,
Well, not
getting a
me.
little
hot and
I feel like
heavy.
he's laughing about it.
your glasses are steaming up over there.
well, you know how he is. Let's talk about
will
Detroit.
stiffen
Who do
up,
you guys like
which we love.
for Detroit?
I mean, you guys have got a major erection for golf, so we had to talk about golf.
I don't like how you go right to erection.
He took off the
You know,
glasses because they're still steamy.
I'm
from
an
the-
old-fashioned guy. It's not right to erection for me.
Isn't
You know, little
foreplay,
little
kissing of the inner
maybe
thighs.
a date, some dinner,
I hear you. Yeah.
make eyes a little bit. I'm, straight to erection.
Yeah.
We're definitely on first base
Okay.
with Goff at this point. I just like him as a guy that's a little bit under the radar,
Yeah.
It's my kind of quarterback.
So you're saying he might be a good streaming waiver wire
I think,
pickup?
definitely. He's especially when we start getting into these bye weeks.
Yeah, certain games too, especially.
And I think teams are proving that you can throw on Baltimore. So I think Goff, and they're letting it rip too, right? Because they're not getting super huge production out of Swift or Williams running the ball, but they've both been pretty capable receivers out of the backfield. I think that Goff might be a good play here. Who I really like, and it goes for both sides. I think this is going to be a tight end duel. I think it's going to be Mark Andrews and T.J. Hawkinson. I like both of these guys.
Yeah.
I think you got to get them both in your lineup this week. Hawkinson, did you guys watch that game?
No, I was
No,
working.
Hawkinson looks fantastic.
Well, he did, although they shut him out in the later part of that game. They really doubled him, and then he was just
Well, that was because they didn't really have anybody else stepping up. And
that was when Quintez. So
Yeah.
I like if you're in a really deep.
Terrell
league,
Williams
pick him
is
up.
out. Was out
out.
with. Is he?
I think he's still out this week. I think they expect him back next
And
week.
before he got hurt, he only had 2 receptions.
He didn't look great. He didn't look great.
You're really high on him. So
I was really
just
high.
keep note of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
you
going to say
started
real quick, I like Swift. Swift, he had a 4.6 yard average. He followed up with 5 targets, caught 4, 41 yards. I don't think they're ever going to give him enough of the touches to be a pure running back stud. I think he's going to be a good mix between the two.
Well, the reason I like him is I think he has the talent to turn a lot of that
he
into
has
more.
a lot of talent.
I
He
think he
looked
could-
fantastic.
Like with the touches he gets, he could still break one.
There was 2 or 3 times in last night's game where one more miss, and he was off to the touchdown. Yeah. And it could have been a different game right there for both Detroit and also for him.
All right. Anybody else we're not talking about?
No.
Okay. So real quick, I'm going to just mention these games. Just give me the names of guys you're going to start that we don't come to mind right away. So Carolina at Houston.
Cooks
has been unreal.
Has been great.
Yeah, he has been a wide receiver one by far.
And Ingram, I think, is the lead back there.
He doesn't excite me, but he's a good ceiling.
Carolina's backfield. What's his name?
McCaffrey.
McCaffrey.
Yeah. And Darnold looked good, too. Darnold scored over 20 points in both of his
Yeah, I think Darnold's
games.
another one like Goff, where if you're in a good, deep league and need a good waiver wire pickup, he's there. So, what about Robbie Anderson? Has just looked, he just hasn't done it.
Nope.
DJ Moore's look good.
Yeah.
Who was high on Robbie Anderson?
Me, but it's early.
Yeah.
But he looked okay week one.
Okay, how about Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati?
Oh, you really jumped the shark there.
Yeah.
Here we go. Pittsburgh. Yeah. Wow, you went way down.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought he was just going to touch on every game.
Yeah, I was just going to go real quick.
Were you really?
Yeah. Just
Real
we
quick.
only have a lot of
Do
time.
that. Okay, do that.
Yeah, so Washington at Buffalo, Allen, Diggs,
Gibson.
Beasley had a down week, but I still think you start him. He's still.
How about
flex
this? I know how we
consideration.
streamline this. We each name one person on each team.
There you go. All right.
Washington,
So Washington.
I feel good about Heineke, to be honest with you. I think he's a good play.
Gibson.
Oh, McLaurin. I mean, right.
Yeah.
So that's no fun.
Maybe we
Let's
shouldn't
be a
do it
little
this
more.
way.
We're
All right.
supposed to be naming. No, we're supposed to be naming guys that don't. You like
All right.
obviously you start McLaurin.
Okay,
You know what
Chicago at
Cam
Cleveland.
Sims.
Chicago.
Chicago at Cleveland. America's team versus the.
Everybody, get Chicago's offensive linemen in that game if you can.
Okay.
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
It's a scourge of the Midwest. Chicago.
Cleveland.
Going up against the
Cleveland.
anus
Who's the
of
wide receiver? You
Midwest.
start this week. Cleveland.
Nobody.
Against this defense that looked great last.
I'm going to take.
Terrible week one. Looked great this week.
I'm going to take a flyer on Felton, but if that wouldn't be the player I would start, I would probably start Nick Chubb.
I think they're going to have to go big in the passing game, and I think the only way they're going to do that is with Njoku. I think Njoku is actually going to be the most
I
targeted.
like Kareem Hunt this week. I think it's going to be hard
Yeah,
for Chubb. To
I don't
find
think
room
Chicago's
to
going to
run.
stop their run. Just going to be honest with you.
You don't think they're going to stop
All right.
the
So
run?
Indy at Tennessee. Indy at Tennessee.
No, we didn't name anybody on Chicago yet.
Well, why would you? Because they're a shit pool.
You said the whole.
But they're
you said
going
the
up
whole
against
team.
Cleveland.
Hey guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You said the whole team.
All right.
I would go
Allen
in
Robinson.
Chicago. Yeah. I mean, I guess I go Montgomery.
And Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet.
I'm not going any of those guys. So you guys name the guys I would start.
All right.
All right. Indy at Tennessee. I think I start both of the wide. Oh, I'll say, and Julio Jones, Tennessee.
You starting on Indianapolis?
I got to name both teams at once.
Yeah. Well, no. Is that what, okay. Tennessee.
Let's go. What the?
I would start Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
He won a lot of people.
We're supposed to be naming guys that everybody and their mother's going to start Derrick
All
Henry.
right. Julio Jones.
Is there somebody that we
You named Julio Jones, and you're telling yelling at me
so
for
he's
Derrick
all
Henry.
automatic start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he is. You think he's a
I
surprise?
am corrected. I am corrected. I don't think most people drafted him as one of their top two wide receivers.
Okay, so who do you go with in Indianapolis? That's not
Well, I'm going Pittman here. Pittman played how I thought Pittman was going to play in week one. He finally showed up week two. Pittman is the man there, and I think Pittman's going to shit all over this Tennessee secondary.
All right, New Orleans at New England.
I'm going to go Jacoby Myers here. Last week he had a really strong game, and I think he's becoming the, receiver that's just catching the most passes, getting the most targets.
I'll say, I don't know, man.
I'm going to go with
Not much.
a little surprise here. I think this is where Hunty Boo Boo has his big game
Okay.
against New Orleans.
Anybody going Jameis?
I would start Jameis.
Okay.
No, but Kamara is the only one that I can start on that team with good faith right now.
I got
that's
to
not even-
see something from Callaway before I start him
Okay.
again.
All right.
All right, Cincy at Pitt, like you said before, I think Cincinnati. I don't know, man. They worried me a little with Burrow last week, so
I think you have to sit Mixon if you have a better option here too. I think this is one of those games that, especially in Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh's
I
defense.
think I'd start Higgins here.
Mixon's going to be a boomer bust. Higgins, I think, might be a good play here.
Yeah, because I think they're going to double Jamar Chase because he's been the breakaway receiver, and I think Higgins could be big.
And Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, I think Nige's going to rattle off his first 100-yard game.
He has looked bad. I'm sorry to say he has looked bad.
Well, he wasn't terrible this last week.
I don't like how he looks running the ball.
He's an upright runner. He reminds me of, I don't know, just he's just, I don't know, man. Something's not right. He's not the college player.
Involved in the passing game, though, and looked pretty stellar. 43 yards on 5 receptions and the touchdown.
Yeah.
All right, we got to move on, guys. We're going to go to our picks. We can't hit those other games. Maybe we'll tack it on later.
Doesn't look like any of them are worth hitting anyway.
All right, so where are we standing with our picks, Rocky? You got the numbers?
Yeah, I do. Right now, after 2 weeks, Antone took over first place. He went 3-0 last week because there was a push. We had Cincinnati, Chicago. Cincy was getting 3 points, and so we all pushed on that game.
Antone gets the trophy this week.
Antone is 5-2 for the year. Phil is 4-3 after going 2-1 last week. I am 4-3, but I went 1-2 last week, and then Mark went
1-2. That's terrible.
Mark went 2-1. Yeah, Mark was at 2-1, and he's still a losing record.
Yeah,
3-4.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
All right, so I'll take
the toilet bowl.
I'll take the toilet for my shit picks thus far. I'll own it.
All right, first game we're going Falcons versus Giants, and the Falcons are getting 3.5 points. Antone goes to Giants.
I am going to ride this giant hype train. Let me repeat. I am going to ride this giant hype train. All right. I think they're gonna dismantle. Honestly, Atlanta.
I'm picking the Giants too.
I'm going Giants. I mean, how can I not go Giants here?
Okay. Next game is Eagles versus Cowboys, and the Eagles are getting 4.5 points. Antone goes for the Eagles.
I will go with the Eagles as well.
Okay.
I am going Dallas.
And I'm going Dallas too.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think this is the game Dak starts running. I think he's finally healthy. Started showing it in the last game.
I did not like what I saw out of Philly this past week against San Fran. And mind you, Dallas' defense is much shittier, but I think Dallas is going to score a bunch this week.
Bears versus America's team, and the Bears are getting 7.5 points because they are
that's a lot of points, man.
Yes.
They're getting 7.5. Such disrespect.
They're on the road.
It is disrespect.
Well, Dalton's banged up. Fields didn't look great.
So Antone is going Browns. Strong going Browns.
7.5 is a lot, though.
It is a lot. Yeah, they got to win by 10 points.
And they have no goddamn receivers.
That's fair.
Pissed off with this.
Yeah. So I guess you're going Bears then.
Yeah, obviously.
I'm going to go Bears as well.
Bears are going to win this game outright.
Oh, shit.
And I'm going to go Browns, and I'm going to make you drink mayo for that. Well, no, you like mayo. They probably like what
wow.
I'm white.
I'm starting to think when you say that, you mean something else.
You probably drink mayo on the way home. It's probably in a styrofoam cup in the car.
He's drinking mayo right now.
This is not homemade mayo, is it? Because you're starting to worry me with how much you're pushing this mayo.
Homemade
You're a
mayo
real
is
big
nice.
mayo guy.
All right, and then a fourth game because the Browns and Bears play each other. We pick the Chiefs versus the Chargers, and the Chiefs are getting, the Chargers are getting 6.5 points.
That's a lot of points.
Antone chose the Chiefs. Who are you going with, Phil?
I'm going with the Chiefs.
Yep.
I think on Arrowhead,
Yeah.
the 2 stories below sea level, too much for the young QB.
I don't know. I think the Chargers hang with them because I just haven't seen a lot out of the Chiefs' defense. 6.5 is a lot to give, man. I'm going Chargers.
I think you're going to be fired up. Is this a primetime game?
I do not know. I guess I should, but I'm going Chiefs too. So that is our picks, and I fully expect to take over first place.
I think I'm going 4-0 this week, guys.
Yeah, I think that every week.
Yeah, I don't. I'm honest with myself.
Yeah, there you go. All right, guys, we want to thank our first official sponsor for the Ultimate Fantasy Locker Room, Black Bear Kitchen, located in Montverde, Florida. It's a twist on a traditional American food, everything from Cuban sandwiches with smoked pork or smoked brisket, fantastic tacos, phenomenal.
You're making me hungry.
Yeah, no, phenomenal grilled cheese with fried mac and cheese in the middle of it. Just amazing stuff. I probably put on about 5 pounds easy from Black Bear. Yeah.
Easy.
Mark's been there too many times, actually. He's a little bit of a stalker.
Yeah. When I think chicken, I think Black Bear.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going.
What do you eat when you go there, Mark?
Virtually anything.
Yeah. So
and everything.
Anyways,
simultaneously.
We want to thank the proprietor, Sean Scott, for coming on and advertising with us, and we encourage you guys to eat at Black Bear Kitchen in Montverde, Florida.
Black Bear.
Eat at Black Bear.
The chicken is finger licking. Black Bear.
Yeah, that's got to be cut
I'm
out.
cutting that for sure. All right, so Anton Davis, what's going on, buddy? How you feeling?
Not much, man. How are you guys doing?
We're doing okay. We're happier that you're on the show because these guys have been really, I don't know, something else tonight, Anton. So I need some real calm, serene, common sense logic, and I'm hoping you can bring it to the show.
Well,
you guys are getting out of control, man. You guys are. Some folks seem a little sensitive tonight.
Yeah, Mark is Mark's in rare form. I don't know how when you say that, Phil. Is that fair?
Listen, I'm not going to kick my teammate in the back. I just want to ask you, Tone, as a guy who's been in a locker room before, how would you feel about a teammate as soon as he gets on the phone with somebody else who just starts kicking your back in? You think that's good for locker room morale?
Okay, I'm going to cancel Phil here.
Cancel!
Yeah, that's cancel Phil.
Yeah, so we last week we had Tone on and he had some questions for us. We're going to change it around this week. What we're going to do is we're just talk some ball. So we have some questions about stuff that's going on in the league. We're just talking regular football, not fantasy, and get your take on it. How you feel about that?
Let's do that. That sounds really good, man.
Anton, by the way, I think we figured out Anton won again, right?
Oh yeah, you did win.
Yeah. So Anton, you're looking pretty good. Your team looks like in tip top. You know, you're not the walkthrough you were last year.
Yeah, you were an embarrassment last year.
Yeah, this year you're actually.
What?
Really
You're the first person to tell me I was embarrassment. I really, really appreciate that feedback.
You're welcome.
But this year you're kind of leading the league right here. You're
leading the pack, and you're also leading in the pick segment.
Yeah, you are.
Hey,
yeah.
That lets you know I'm a fast learner. I appreciate you guys being patient with me. You know I'm new to this stuff.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
All right. So here's the first thing I got for you, and coming off that great game, my question is: can Lamar and the Ravens finally overtake the Chiefs?
Yeah.
I mean, they got over the hump. They haven't beaten them yet. They finally do it. They do it on a big stage. The Chiefs' defense doesn't look great this year. Is this a year where they meet up with them in the playoffs and beat them?
You know, I'll tell you this, man. Every game that the Chiefs play, and really this goes for everyone, but every game that they play, they're essentially putting out more information, more statistics, more tendencies, more capabilities for people to study. And I believe if you could see it, if it was 2 race horses, I believe that the number 2 horse is starting to catch up to them. And I think a lot of folks are going to be really in that number 2 spot. The Chiefs have been good for a long time now, and I think people are going to start to figure them out. Hard to contain a guy like Mahomes, but when you have weapons like Lamar Jackson, that you know, they're going to start to catch up to him, and I think pass.
Yeah. Do you think they beat them last week, Baltimore, and I will agree with you that Lamar wanted that win. He wanted that win.
Oh, big time.
But it's hard to beat the same team twice. So I wasn't happy the Browns lost to them, but I wasn't upset by it because we played them well.
You saying in the same season?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it's hard to play the same team twice and beat them twice. Do you think that has any impact, or do you think that that's Chiefs, all stuff we talk about, but it doesn't matter once you get on the field?
You know, I think there's a lot of truth in that statement, and here's why. When you go into a game, you study film and you think you have the answers. You think you have a game plan, if you will, of how you're going to beat this team. And you probably go in, let's say you have 5 different, I don't know, call them bullet points, if you will. If we do these 5 things, we can beat this team. Well, you go into the game, and lo and behold, 2 of those things just fall flat on their face. They didn't work. They didn't work how you thought they were going to work when you watch film. When guys lined up, they shifted slightly, or they made adjustments too, and it just didn't work. And so you go into that game, and you think this and this. The other three were good. Let's fix this and this, and we can beat these guys. So I think there has, depending on how you decide to play a team, you can beat them twice, but it's hard to do.
Okay.
All right. The only thing I'll say about that is I think with the 2 games in 1 year, I think there's a natural thing that happens when you beat somebody. You're just not gonna. It's hard to have the same juice the next time you play them. I think there's like a natural thing where your guard is let down just a little bit,
right?
Because the intensity is not there the same.
Yeah, and to me, like Baker, if he had taken the ball when they were down, driven the field, and won the game, it would have cemented in a lot of people's minds. That would have been Baker's moment, and because it wasn't, I'm hoping that moment might come later because
I don't know how we keep coming back to the Browns. We're not talking about the Browns, Rocky.
He can segue to the Browns no matter what you put on there.
I'm giving the listeners what they want. It's America's team.
All right, so let's stick in the AFC.
Well, let's talk about the Browns. We're going to stick in the
AFC. Team that come out hot. They traveled on a short week and won a game that they weren't favored in. After a Monday night game, and that's the Raiders. Are they for real?
The Raiders.
You know what, man? First of all, let me just mention the Browns. I have really tried hard. ever since he was at Oklahoma, I've really tried hard not to like this guy. But the one thing you have to do is you have to give credit where it's due, and you have to show guys respect that are doing it. The guy's a player. I mean, that's one of the first ones. I'm not going to say I was wrong yet, but the guy's a heck of a player. Yeah. And sometimes you fall in the right situation.
Don't get Rocky started, please.
Well, no, I just wanted to ask you a question.
We're obviously talking about Cade McCown, right?
Daniel Jones or Baker Mayfield? Better pro career.
It's
Yeesh.
pretty early.
Yeesh. Rocky.
It's pretty early for that.
That's hard.
Okay, I won't make it.
Because here's what you got to look at. You got to look at who's handling them, right? You got to look at their coaches. Honestly, based on Garrett's track record, I'm going to say Baker Mayfield.
That's I like.
That's the same thing I said. I'm not a big fan of Garrett.
Yeah. Okay. What's your next question?
All right. He didn't answer the Raiders question.
Well, got him
right back to Mayfield.
He brought up the Browns because
you brought up the Browns.
So are the Raiders for real? Is Gruden got his program in place? Is he finally starting to take hold and affect the culture there?
I'll tell you this. If guys are truly bought into Gruden, yes, absolutely they are for real. And I'll tell you what, Carr is playing lights out. No question in my mind. It takes a while, guys. You guys know it. You see it at every level. It takes a while to get your system in and get guys really bought in. I think they're bought in. I think they're for real. I think the Raiders are going to be there to stay, and I think they're going to be playoff contenders.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think they have been playing lights out, man. Carr looks fantastic.
He does.
Their wide receivers look really good. And I know you pointed out Cole Beasley is your wide receiver 5 last week. The Raiders have their own, man. Hunter Renfrow looks fantastic out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, it wasn't just any two teams. The Ravens and the Steelers, they're two pretty decent, especially the Steelers, really good defense.
And like I said, they on a short week to travel and play that game on the road.
Without their top running back, too, this past week.
All right, so we'll go from the West, then we'll go to who wins the West? Who wins the NFC West? I'll precursor this question a little bit. I'll say all these teams look good. San Fran's 2-0, right? They went on the road and beat a Philly team that beat down on the Falcons. The Seahawks choked away a lead at home. Arizona looked great week 1. They looked good week 2, but they got exposed a little bit on defense, and they should have lost that game if it wasn't for a missed field goal at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And the Rams look like world beaters right now. So who do you think wins the West?
You know why I picked the Rams. I got to pick the Rams. I mean, Stafford. Stafford is going to be one of those cases of a player that leaves a horrible system, goes to a different system, and people wonder why. Where was this guy on his first part of his career?
Yeah.
But Stafford is a difference maker. I call the Rams.
What do you think? So they win the West. A follow-up question: do they beat Tampa Bay and take over and actually make it to the Super Bowl?
So I have a rule. I will never bet against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. I just can't.
Yeah, I was trying to get you. I was trying to goad you into it, but yeah. All right.
So here's the last one. This is a little bit of fun, and see if the guys want to ask you anything else after this. But these are two guys that I think are kind of in the same realm, same point in their careers almost, same style of quarterback. But who would you rather block for, Kirk Cousins or Matt Ryan?
Or neither.
You guys really putting some tough ones out there, man.
I mean, they both had a great week.
They did.
I mean,
yeah.
And they're both not very mobile, although Cousins rushed a little bit, both in the latter part of their career.
Antone's answer is Randall Cunningham, right? That's who you're.
My answer is Matt Ryan. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
For one simple reason: you don't get a nickname called Matty Ice for nothing. Yeah. So we all know it's a team game. We all know there's a lot of factors that change things and make things happen. I'm not putting it all on him. I still think he's a fantastic quarterback, and I have to stick with Matty Ice. Plus, he's a Georgia boy.
Okay, so you don't like Kirk Cousins, is what you're saying?
I actually love Kirk Cousins, but I can't go against that. Okay. I can't go against somebody with the name Matty Ice.
I got you. All right. So, you guys have any questions?
I actually do have a question. When you're blocking for those quarterbacks, obviously for you it's beneficial for them to get the ball out of their hands quickly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So where is, as an offensive lineman, what is the toughest position that a quarterback puts you in? Is that when they go through their progressions, they start to get on the move a little bit, and now you have to protect them? What was the most difficult?
I'll tell you what. That's a really great question, and something that people don't really pay attention to. And it happens a lot more when quarterbacks are in the gun. So as a lineman, you mentally are trained. Yeah, sometimes you can throw a ball up and you can probably close your eyes and still catch it because you know exactly where that ball is going to land based on where you threw it. And, for quarterbacks, for linemen, we want that quarterback to be about 7, maybe 8 yards deep, but really about 7 yards deep. When you see quarterbacks standing at 5, taking a snap and then dropping back 2, 3, 4 yards or steps and they wind up at about 10 yards, that's murder on a tackle. So tackles can't sustain that known circle, that known sort of in my mind and know exactly where he is without turning around and looking at him. When those guys are standing back there at 8, 9, 10 yards and they don't step up, they're going to get killed. And it's hard pressed on the tackle to carry a 10-yard circle like that. So we care more about where he is than how long he holds the ball, because my goal is to fight as long as the whistle's not blown anyway. So it doesn't matter where he is as long as he's not back there where I can't protect him.
So did you ever work with a quarterback that was notorious for that, taking a couple more steps than he should?
My good friend Pat Ryan, he was horrible about it. Pat would drop back about 10, 12 yards, and we just look at him and shake our heads and say, bro, you're on your own on this one.
What about you, Rock? You got anything to ask him?
Yeah, the thing, and I think I might know the answer, but who is the best D lineman you ever faced?
Wow. Without hesitation, Reggie White. No question about it. Reggie White. Everybody knows. If you're old enough, he was a minister of defense guy with incredible strength, incredible leverage, and incredible speed. No one can truly block this guy. I'm not sure people did. So you can go back and watch any film you want, and he wreaked havoc every play. So very tough guy to block.
All right. So I'll just put the ball in your court. Anything you noticed through the first 3 weeks of the seasons? Any themes, storylines, things that are interesting to you? Something you've seen change? Or maybe going back to the way it was as far as style of play, or just anything, any observations you have for the first 2 weeks of the NFL?
You're totally putting him on the spot here.
So two
just
things.
Ask them who was the best defensive.
Well, because I knew the answer. I knew it was going to be Reggie White.
So I have two things. One, I'm really disappointed. And I may have missed this, but it looks like now the refs, have they changed the rule now on celebrations in the end zone? Because it looks like all of the little skits and shows have stopped.
Yeah.
Well, they've called taunting more.
Well, that was actually they announced that was like a point of emphasis.
Yeah. Well, and they called taunting twice on Sunday in games where I didn't think the celebration was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think they're trying to just get it.
They're being over the top. These guys work so hard to get there in the end zone. I think they deserve to be able to talk trash. I think it's part of the game, just like fighting is part of hockey. And different things baseball players do, or I guess baseball players don't do a whole lot, but, it's part of the game. He's a grown man. Let them celebrate. I don't understand who it's hurting for celebrating, because I guarantee you this: if the defensive back, let's say a guy gets a touchdown and he celebrates and he's getting a taunting, if the defensive back had broken up that pass, you better believe that defensive back is talking mad trash to this guy, probably while he's holding the ground trying to get up and go back to the huddle. Yep. So I don't understand why that emphasis on that particular thing. It's like you're trying to take the fun out of the game. If you understand the game, you know that's a huge part of just having fun, and a huge part of kind of almost a stress relief of guys having finally reached the goal that they've been beat down about and pressed about and getting across the goal line. I don't understand why we want to violate celebrations. I am not for anything vulgar or too crazy that because you have fans of all ages, but just general fun and having fun and even talking trash, I think should be totally accepted.
And you hit the nail on the head too, because I mean it's a business, right? So you got the fans coming in, they're paying money. Those fans want to see that, man. They want to see some trash talking. They want to see some celebration. They want some fun and excitement to really pump the crowd up.
Yep.
I don't understand why the NFL would want to put a lid on that either.
Yeah, I'm not sure who we're protecting by doing that. Are we protecting the feelings of the defensive back? That's the worst group on the field when it comes to trash talking. So, not sure what the goal is there. But I do want to bring up one other thing, guys. If y'all remember, towards the end of the season last year, Bill Roethlisberger was sitting on the bench, and he was sitting next to another player. You guys may remember this, and he told the player he was sorry. You guys remember that? He didn't play well, and he felt like he just didn't quite enough, and he wasn't ready to retire and all that. Yep. So, in my mind, Big Ben's going to come out this year, and Big Ben's going to tear it up, and he's going to make up for last year. It almost seems like in these first 2 weeks, since you asked the question about the first 2 weeks, it almost seems like Big Ben forgot about that conversation on the bench. And it doesn't like anything has changed. So, maybe it takes guys a little bit of time to get wound up, but that's one of the most disappointing things so far. I don't know that I see him showing that he's sorry and actually doing something different than he did last year.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like the same old Pittsburgh.
It does look like the same offense. I was hoping.
I mean, they did take down Buffalo though, week 1. I mean,
well, they did, but Buffalo was up 10-0 and then gave that game away more than they took it. To be honest with you.
All right, that's fair. So, hey man, we appreciate you coming in. Hopefully, we do this every week.
Yeah.
Always great talking to you, Tone. And please don't bring up the Browns too much. You get this guy going, he will not. Hey, stop talking.
Look,
Anton,
I'll talk a lot of crap. I'll be silly and crazy, but you got to give credit where it's due, man.
No, I like Mayfield.
He's proving me wrong. He hasn't completely proved me wrong yet, but he's proving me wrong.
I don't think he's, to be honest, I want to like the guy. I want to root for him. I don't know that he's proven he's the guy that can win the game. That when that moment's on him, but he sure is a guy that I feel like if I went and had a beer with him, I'd have a great time.
I think he just seems like, to me, when it gets to the end of the game, I think he's still got such a passion for the game that he's like a little kid. He's so antsy and he's so hyped up that it's like he's trying to contain himself, but he can't because he's like, oh my God, I have a chance to win this game. This is amazing. And
I was about to say he still acts a little silly for me, so I can't take him too serious yet.
Well, one of my greatest experiences ever in any NFL game is when I was in Cleveland with Anton. We were watching the Atlanta Falcons versus the Browns, and we had great seats. We were right there at the bench, and people would interact and talk to Anton in a way that they would not talk and interact with me because they would look at him and know he belonged. And then who's this short white guy next to him? It was really interesting because at one point he said...
Did anybody mistake you for Baker Mayfield's dad?
No, nobody did. He did at one point. Anton screamed, "Great play, Mayfield," and Mayfield turned and made eye contact and said something like, But I had been screaming like a schoolgirl with a crush. He didn't even pay attention to me. But for Anton, he noticed.
That's funny. But you know what, Rocky? That was Mayfield's first win, too, at that game. We had a good luck charm.
Yeah, 12 and 12 in the first half. Looked amazing and completely destroyed Atlanta. So
we're back talking about the
Browns. All right,
Anton. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
All right, peace.
All right, bye.
Listen, guys, we appreciate you for showing up, clicking the button. It's actually to click another button, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and also hit that bell so you know when we put something new up. I know we're going to start going live on our socials. Rocky even brought a fancy doodad with a light on it to do so. So you ask us questions there. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah,
Facebook.
we're on Facebook.
That is a giant lit
TikTok
O-ring.
and TikTok. Find us there. Like, subscribe. Love you guys. Hope we helped you this week, and let us help you going forward. Peace.